Allen Payne's story does not begin with fame, red carpets, or Hollywood dreams. It begins in Harlem, New York City, on July 7, 1968, during a time when the neighborhood was facing deep struggles. Crime, poverty, broken homes, and fear were part of everyday life. For many young black boys growing up in Harlem during the 1970s and 1980s, survival mattered more than dreams. Allen Payne has said that in his early life, his first goal was not becoming famous, but simply staying alive. Loss touched his family early, and death became something he saw far too soon. These experiences shaped his quiet personality and his serious view of life. While many people later saw him as calm and reserved, that silence was built from years of watching, learning, and protecting himself in an environment where mistakes could be deadly. In school, Allen was not seen as a model student. Teachers labeled him a troublemaker, and he often clashed with authority. Like many kids in his neighborhood, he was surrounded by gangs and bad influences. The streets offered fast respect but slow death. Allen stood at a crossroads that many young men before him had failed to escape. The path he was on did not look like one that led to acting or movies. It looked like a path that led to prison or worse. But his parents saw the danger early. In an effort to save their son, they made a decision that would change his life forever. They enrolled him in acting classes at a local youth center, not because they believed he would become a star, but because they wanted to keep him off the streets and out of trouble. At first, acting meant nothing to Allen Payne. It felt strange and uncomfortable. Standing in front of others, expressing emotion, and pretending to be someone else was not natural for a boy who had learned to hide his feelings to survive. But slowly, something changed. Acting gave Allen a safe place to release emotions he had been holding inside for years. Anger, fear, sadness, and hope finally had somewhere to go. He discovered that his life experiences, the pain and struggle, actually made him better at acting. He did not need to imagine hardship. He had lived it. Method acting, which focuses on emotional truth, connected deeply with him. For the first time, Allen saw a future that did not end in tragedy. Still, the people around him did not believe in his dream. Friends and family told him acting was not realistic. They said Hollywood did not care about kids from Harlem. They encouraged him to find a real job. But Allen Payne had already seen where the other path led. He had buried too many people. He stayed focused, quiet, and determined. His journey into acting was slow and difficult. He started with small roles in commercials and stage productions, learning discipline and patience. Every rejection made him tougher. Every small success pushed him forward. Acting was no longer a hobby. It was his way out. In 1989, Allen landed a small role in the film Rooftops. The movie itself did not make a big impact, but for Allen, it meant everything. It proved that someone like him could break into the industry. 1 year later, he appeared on The Cosby Show as Lance Rodman. Though it was not a leading role, it was a powerful moment. The show was one of the biggest on television, and millions of people saw Allen Payne for the first time. His natural style stood out. He did not feel like a polished Hollywood actor. He felt real. That authenticity became his signature. Casting directors noticed him, and slowly, doors began to open. Allen Payne had survived Harlem. Now, he was stepping into a new world, unaware that fame would bring its own kind of danger. In 1991, Allen Payne's life changed forever when he was cast as Gerald G. Money Wells in New Jack City. The film was more than entertainment. It was a cultural moment. It showed the harsh reality of the crack epidemic and the destruction it caused in black communities. Allen's performance was unforgettable. G-Money was not just a villain. He was intelligent, loyal, dangerous, and deeply human. Allen Payne brought a quiet intensity to the role, making audiences both fear and understand the character. Many people did not see an actor playing a role. They saw someone who knew that life personally. That realism made Allen Payne a star overnight. With fame came attention, money, and opportunity. Allen was suddenly placed among the most promising young black actors in Hollywood. He worked alongside major names and became a symbol of authentic urban storytelling. But fame also brought pressure. Hollywood expected him to repeat the same role again and again. Drug dealers, gang members, violent men. Allen understood why those roles existed, but he did not want to be trapped by them. He believed that black actors deserved more range, more depth, and more respect. This belief quietly separated him from the system that wanted to control his image. In 1994, Allen proved his range in Jason's Lyric, a romantic drama that showed a softer, emotional side of his talent. The film focused on love, trauma, and the desire to escape a violent past. Allen's performance was powerful and vulnerable. Audiences saw pain behind his eyes. They saw a man trying to heal. The movie became a classic in black cinema, and many fans consider it his best work. At this point, Allen Payne had everything a young actor could want: fame, respect, and a loyal fan base. But behind the scenes, something was changing. Hollywood is not kind to people who value privacy. Allen Payne did not enjoy interviews. He avoided celebrity parties. He did not chase attention. As other actors built their fame through media appearances, Allen chose silence. This silence confused the industry. Rumors began to grow, not because Allen did something wrong, but because he refused to explain himself. In an industry that demands access, his privacy became suspicious. Some people questioned his choices. Others tried to define him without knowing him. Allen never responded. He believed that his work should speak for itself. Throughout the mid-1990s, Allen continued working, choosing roles carefully. He appeared in comedies, horror films, and dramas, showing versatility. But he also turned down opportunities that did not align with his values. This decision slowed his career in a system that rewards obedience. Hollywood often punishes actors who do not play the game. Allen Payne was not interested in being controlled. He had escaped one dangerous system growing up. He refused to be trapped in another. As the years passed, Allen became less visible. New stars emerged. Trends changed. But instead of fighting to stay in the spotlight, Allen stepped back. To the public, it looked like he disappeared. To Allen, it was a choice. Fame had given him success, but it had also brought stress, misunderstanding, and loss of control. He had spent his childhood surviving chaos. He was not willing to relive that chaos in a different form. His silence was not weakness. It was protection. When people talk about Allen Payne's secret life, they often imagine scandals or hidden drama. But the truth is far quieter and far more powerful. Allen Payne's real secret is that he chose peace over fame. In an industry that demands constant attention, he chose to step away. He never announced a retirement. He never explained his absence. He simply lived his life on his own terms. That decision confused fans and created mystery. People are uncomfortable with silence. When answers are missing, rumors fill the space. Allen Payne allowed that space to remain empty. Over the years, fans asked the same question again and again: where did Allen Payne go? The answer is simple, but not easy to accept. He went nowhere. He just stopped performing for public approval. Allen continued to live, grow, and protect his inner world. He avoided social media. He avoided public drama. In a time when celebrities share everything, his refusal to do so felt unusual. But Allen Payne never believed his personal life belonged to the public. He gave his emotions to his roles. Off camera, he wanted them back. Hollywood often measures success by visibility. Allen measured success by survival and peace. He had seen how fame destroyed people. He had grown up watching lives disappear too soon. He understood that sometimes the strongest move is stepping away. His silence was not a failure. It was a boundary. The industry did not know how to handle that. Fans misunderstood it. But Allen Payne stayed true to himself. Today, his legacy remains strong. His performances continue to inspire new generations. Young actors study his work for its honesty and emotional depth. His absence has not erased his impact. If anything, it has strengthened it. Allen Payne reminds us that success does not always mean staying in the spotlight. Sometimes, it means knowing when to leave it. His secret life is not filled with scandal, but with intention. In a loud world, he chose quiet. In a demanding industry, he chose dignity. And in doing so, Allen Payne created a legacy that goes beyond fame, fame, and the sudden silence. Allen Payne's career once looked like a perfect Hollywood success story. Long before he became a familiar face on television, he had already proven his talent in serious films. Movies like New Jack City showed that he could handle intense, emotional roles, and audiences respected him for it. By the time he joined Tyler Perry's House of Payne in 2006, Allen Payne was not a struggling actor looking for a break. He was a seasoned performer stepping into a role that would bring him into millions of homes every week. Playing C.J. Payne, a firefighter and family man, felt natural. The character was strong, responsible, flawed, and deeply human. Viewers connected with him immediately. The show itself became a massive success, running for 8 seasons and dominating ratings, especially within black households. For many fans, C.J. Payne wasn't just a character, he felt like family. During this time, Allen Payne seemed stable, respected, and secure in his career. Everything suggested that his future in television was locked in. But then something unexpected happened. When House of Payne ended its original run in 2012, Allen Payne did not move on to another major role, as many expected. Instead, he vanished from the public eye. There were no interviews explaining his next steps. There were no new movies or TV shows announced. He did not appear at award shows, industry events, or red carpets. Slowly, quietly, Allen Payne disappeared. Fans noticed immediately. In an age where celebrities are constantly visible, his absence felt strange. Some people assumed he was simply taking a break. Others believed he was enjoying life away from the camera after years of hard work. But as months turned into years, the silence became harder to ignore. Online forums and comment sections filled with questions. Where was Allen Payne? Why had he walked away from such a successful role? Why didn't he explain anything? Because Payne chose not to speak, speculation filled the space he left behind. Some rumors were harmless, suggesting burnout or personal choice. Others were darker, pointing to alleged tension behind the scenes. Anonymous posts appeared online, claiming arguments during rehearsals or disagreements with producers. None of these claims were ever proven. No credible sources confirmed them. Allen Payne himself remained silent, refusing to fuel the gossip. That silence, however, became part of the mystery. In Hollywood, silence is often seen as suspicious, even when it shouldn't be. For 6 long years, Allen Payne stayed mostly out of sight. Then, in 2018, he returned. When House of Payne was revived, fans were excited to see C.J. Payne again. His return felt almost unreal, like a familiar voice from the past suddenly speaking again. But viewers noticed something different. Allen Payne seemed quieter. His energy felt more reserved. The playful spark that once defined C.J. felt muted. Some fans said he looked tired. Others said he looked peaceful. Opinions were divided. Was this just the natural change that comes with age? Or was it evidence of something deeper that had happened during his time away? Once again, questions replaced answers, speculation, power, and misunderstood silence. As Allen Payne returned to the screen, conversations around him grew louder. Viewers compared his new presence to his past performances and wondered what had changed. Many pointed out that while other cast members remained very visible within Tyler Perry's productions, Payne seemed different. Tyler Perry is known for working closely with a consistent group of actors, often rewarding loyalty with repeated roles across his shows and films. Some actors become permanent fixtures in his creative world. Allen Payne, however, never fully embraced that public closeness. Even at the height of House of Payne's success, he avoided heavy press tours and interviews. He did not speak often about Tyler Perry in glowing, promotional terms, nor did he position himself as part of Perry's inner circle. To some, this simply showed professionalism and privacy. To others, it raised questions. Online discussions began drawing patterns where none had been officially confirmed. Fans noticed that some actors appeared briefly in Perry's projects and then disappeared. The idea of an inner circle. This was a conscious decision, reflecting a level of maturity and self-awareness that is rare among actors who are constantly pursued by fame and media attention. When Allen finally returned to acting in 2018, it was with a renewed sense of purpose, but also with the awareness that the industry had shifted during his absence. He reprised his role as C.J. Payne in Tyler Perry's spin-off series, The Paynes, but soon discovered that the landscape had changed significantly. His time away had highlighted the contrast between his desire for authentic storytelling and the industry's emphasis on commercially safe content. Despite his experience and talent, Allen found himself navigating creative conflicts, production limitations, and the challenges of re-establishing his position. His initial episodes in the series were promising, but the show was restructured after just 3 episodes, leaving many to speculate about behind-the-scenes disagreements. Industry insiders noted that Allen's unwillingness to compromise on artistic integrity may have clashed with the production's commercial goals. This tension is a reflection of a larger issue within Hollywood, where creative vision often competes with market expectations. Allen's experience is a testament to the challenges that actors face when attempting to balance authenticity with industry demands. Beyond creative conflicts, Allen's return highlighted the changes in Hollywood over the 6-year period he was away. New talent had emerged, trends had shifted, and the industry had become even more focused on established brands and predictable formulas. Navigating this transformed landscape required adaptability, resilience, and a strong sense of personal identity, all qualities that Allen had cultivated during his hiatus. His journey during this period also emphasizes the importance of self-preservation. While many actors feel pressure to accept every opportunity, Allen prioritized roles and projects that aligned with his values. He understood that choosing the right projects, even if fewer in number, was more meaningful than participating in work that compromised his integrity. This philosophy extended beyond his professional life into his personal choices. Allen continued to protect his privacy, limiting interviews and avoiding social media. By doing so, he shielded himself from toxic attention and maintained a clear distinction between his public persona and private life. This approach allowed him to focus on his craft without distraction, ensuring that his work reflected his true abilities rather than being shaped by external pressures. Allen Payne's hiatus is not just a story about absence, it is a story about growth, resilience, and the conscious decision to define success on one's own terms. It is about understanding that stepping back does not mean giving up, and that personal well-being and authenticity are sometimes more valuable than fame or recognition. By choosing to focus on his health, his values, and his personal development, Allen set an example for others navigating high-pressure industries. His journey during these years is a reminder that the choices we make when no one is watching often shape our character more profoundly than the moments in the spotlight. In conclusion, Allen Payne's hiatus represents a critical chapter in his life. It is a period that allowed him to recover, reflect, and grow, preparing him for a return to Hollywood that would be grounded in self-awareness, artistic integrity, and a clear understanding of his priorities. This period demonstrates that sometimes, the most important work we do is the work we do on ourselves, away from public scrutiny. Allen Payne's return to Hollywood in 2018 marked a significant moment in his career, but it also revealed the challenges of re-entering an industry that had changed during his absence. His reprisal of the C.J. Payne role in The Paynes was highly anticipated, but the experience quickly highlighted the tensions between his creative vision and the commercial demands of the production. Only appearing in the first 3 episodes before the show was restructured, Allen faced a professional environment that was less welcoming than expected. These challenges underscore the broader realities of Hollywood. Experience, talent, and dedication do not always guarantee success or creative freedom. Allen's approach, shaped by his years of reflection and personal growth, emphasized authenticity and integrity, but this often conflicted with industry practices that prioritize safe, profitable content over artistic exploration. Despite these challenges, Allen continued to navigate his career with focus and resilience. By 2020, he returned to the rebooted House of Payne, bringing with him a deeper understanding of his craft, stronger boundaries, and a clearer sense of personal and professional priorities. His journey reflects the difficulties faced by actors who prioritize personal growth and artistic authenticity in an environment that often values compliance and predictability. Allen's current reality, working on House of Payne in its 11th season, shows a balance between maintaining his creative integrity and adapting to the practicalities of television production. He has learned to pick his battles, focusing on his performance and contribution while avoiding unnecessary conflicts. This strategy has allowed him to continue his work while protecting his well-being and personal values. Privacy remains a cornerstone of his life. Allen avoids social media entirely, gives very few interviews, and maintains strict boundaries between his public and private life. In doing so, he shields himself from distractions and negative attention, allowing him to concentrate on his craft and personal growth. His story is remarkable not because it is filled with scandals or secrets, but because it demonstrates the power of choosing authenticity over conformity, integrity over compromise, and personal growth over fame. In an industry that often pressures individuals to sacrifice their values for public recognition, Allen Payne stands as an example of resilience, thoughtful decision-making, and the quiet strength of living life on one's own terms. His journey provides insight not only into the challenges of Hollywood but also into the importance of self-awareness, boundaries, and personal integrity in achieving fulfillment. By observing Allen Payne's life, we see that true success is not measured by awards, publicity, or social media attention, but by the ability to remain authentic, maintain one's values, and grow as a person despite external pressures. Allen's story offers valuable lessons for anyone navigating high-pressure environments, reminding us that stepping back, setting boundaries, and prioritizing personal growth are essential components of long-term success and well-being. As Allen continues to act and contribute to the industry on his own terms, his story will remain an inspiring example of how to navigate the complexities of life in the spotlight while maintaining one's integrity and purpose. In conclusion, Allen Payne's life off-camera is a testament to the power of quiet determination, thoughtful decision-making, and the courage to choose personal growth over external validation. His journey is a reminder that sometimes the most significant achievements are not the ones celebrated on screen, but the ones quietly accomplished in life behind the scenes.